Needs assessment. Needs assessment is the second stage in the sales process, and maybe you could say the most important stage in the sales process. Anyway, very important stage in the sales process. So when you think about the role of tailor-made products in business-to-business market, so the key issue to provide that kind of tailor-made solutions for customers to find out what customer is looking for. What are their needs? You need to find out at this stage what customer wants and then provide that type of products, services to match customer needs. So one of the key issues here is also to find out about these latent needs. Sometimes customer needs are not clearly expressed, and by asking right questions, you might find out what are the latent needs existing by the customer. So that way you can provide those tailor-made solutions, which are typically demanded by business-to-business customers. It's also a very important stage to create good relationships and trust between you and your customer, so that plays a critical role for success. So how do you do it? As we have already in the beginning of the needs assessment stage we have discussed, so questions are the key for this. So ask the right questions at the right time and remember to listen. So making questions, making customer talk, listen what customer says, make notes, and then make conclusions. Those are the key issues here. So this is not about talking. You make the right questions, make customers talk. What type of questions there are? So first of all, we have facts. So direct questions to find out information about customer. These are very important, so defining what kind of demand customer has and what kind of problems, challenges they are facing. So for example, examples of fact questions. So what is your production capacity, for example, in a manufacturing plant? How many employees do you have? These type of basic questions to find out basic information about customer. And this is also you can say facts are a way to create rapport between you and your customer. And this way you can see it's that kind of relationship building tool as well. You have also descriptive questions. So questions clarifying and describing customer situation more precisely. So their customer has to describe the situation where they are. So this more verbal answer where they use that kind of lengthy responses to your question. So for example, what kind of development do you expect in production area during next 3 to 5 years? Or related to employees, so this was for production, so how it's improving or how it's developing in near future. And for example, related to employees, ask also in fact questions, what kind of development needs you would have in the human resource area? How it's going to develop as well. Then you have directing questions. So aiming to direct customer to a certain response or situation. And typically these directing questions you ask at the end of needs assessment. So you might want to start the project as soon as possible. How would you may work for you? So if you find out that customer is in a situation where they need to act really soon, so you might put kind of like pressure there and suggest a time frame for activities. Then during discussions, a customer could make claims or express opinions that are not in the line with your own, for example, or in the line with the discussion. So if you want customer to make them think about their own ideas, so these kind of test questions could be used for that. So for example, you could say like if this kind of opinion comes up, so interesting viewpoint, how did you come to that conclusion? Then the customer has to explain and then also think themselves, so what they have just said. Then as a fifth option, you have these provoking questions. So don't use these kind of provoking questions too much. They might be also, customer could find them also insulting. So if you suggest some action, for example, from customer and customer doesn't agree, so then this could be the result. So for example, if you again reflect to the questions we have made earlier, so for example, the production capacity or production in general. So your production amount could still be improved with your current machinery. Have you thought how you could do it? So you find out that this can be done, and then you make customer think. At the end of needs assessment, you could also make these kind of locking questions. So they secure customer commitment. And if you see this kind of option, like now we are going to, we are able to conclude something already at this stage. So you could, for example, ask like, we can fulfill the needs you just expressed and can deliver the ordered goods to you by March 11th. Are we ready to make a contract? And then you could pull out the contract or pen already at this point. Not typical in needs assessment stage, but some sort of like locking questions where you conclude something in the process. So make customer commit one way or another to the transaction. And then alternatives, this we have already discussed a little bit. So give that kind of option control to client with these alternatives. So if you give, for example, 2 alternatives as a choice for the customer, then the customer might think that they make the decision. They have the control over this issue. So so you could, for example, to make 2 suggestions. So for example, shall we deliver all goods by March 11th, or shall we deliver 30% next week and rest by March 11th, as you suggested? So there you give an option to the client. They have an option for control. They feel that they are in control. Basically, needs assessment as a whole, the whole stage, has to be based on trust, and it's conducted in a comfortable atmosphere, and sellers' behavior should reflect that. So it's not that kind of like aggressive behavior. We are looking for answers for issues we are interested about, and then building a trust relationship with customer and making them commit certain way to our proposal. There are also other types of ways to classify questions. You could say you have these kind of problem questions. So salesperson tries to detect customer needs and latent needs, and you do that by finding out areas where customer faces problems or challenges, and then you know what to offer. So if those are kind of like problems, challenges where you can provide solution, So then you concentrate on that. These are very close to, for example, the fact questions we just previously discussed. So that kind of like fact kind of expressions of their current situation. What kind of problems, challenges they have. Then you continue when you have found out the problem. So you continue with dealing with the same problem that customer has just expressed. So consequence questions. So what is the result of this problem or challenge they are facing? Clarify the problem for the customer. And customer realizes that they need to find a solution in this issue. You could, for example, with consequence questions, so make them realize, for example, what is the monetary value of this problem? How much they are losing money? What is the result of this problem? And that way, with the consequence questions, so you make it more clear for customer what's their situation. And then the last, third question is this significance questions. What it would mean to the customer if the problem could be solved. So they now realize, so you have this kind of problem, this is the consequence of it. We have this and this type of losses because of it. What it would mean to the customer if the problem could be solved. So you ask that. We can provide you a solution for this. What would be the significance of the issue if we can find a solution for that? How the solution would influence their business. So you further clarify the issue to the customer, and then customer realizes we need to do something, and then you can provide your solution. This is what we have for you to solve the problem. And then very important is to basically ask many questions to find out customer situation. Ask especially many problem questions to find out about the needs and latent needs what customer has.